Lamar World, don't do this, Lamar World. Come on. If you know the content, if you know me, you know I'm steadfast. You know I'm consistent when it comes to the content. Lamar World says Bobby's coming off as mainstream media talking about the team who lost more than the team who won the F. Come on, man. Not this morning. I got time this morning. Don't do this. Don't be this fan today. You know I'm consistent with this. And I need you to take off your goggles this morning respectfully and understand that what the Ravens have put on tape is who they are defensively through 10 weeks. They're not going to get to where they want to be with this unit, as Marlon Humphrey put it, as the little brothers of this team. This is not a championship team right now. This is not a complete team. They are a complete offense. They are a championship caliber offense. But if you want to ignore what is the current reality of the state of this team, you can go ahead and do so. But I'm not going to feel bad for you when you're disappointed 2 months from now and there's an early exit in the postseason. MV3. You can pretty much, dare I say, write it in ink at this point. Lamar Jackson was absolutely exceptional. He finished with a quarterback rating of 141.4. He had over 200 passing yards, well over it, 290 to be exact. 4 passing touchdowns, and look at what he did on third down in the second half with crunch time and staring at a deficit. He was 7 for 7. He had 133 passing yards. He had 19 passing yards per attempt. He had 3 passing touchdowns, no picks, and a perfect passer rating of 158.3. If that's not enough, look at where he was at his best and look at the chart. He generated plus 18 expected points added on dropbacks after halftime. That's the second highest mark by a quarterback this season. This is next-gen stats getting deep into the weeds here. Look at the intermediate game, 6 for 7, 81 yards and 3 touchdowns. I love when he dumps it off to Justice Hill for checkdowns, for big gains, always finding the open man. So smooth and decisive in the pocket. And I don't even feel like he's fully healthy right now. He's been on the injury report back-to-back weeks, with whether it was knee or knee and back designations. Didn't do anything to wow you aside from, I don't know, maybe just the play of the year, the ridiculous scramble. He had 7 carries for 33 yards. All 3 iconic plays that Lamar has had, you could argue, have all come against the Bengals. We all remember the his Houdini touchdown scramble in his first MVP campaign, his first year as a starter back in 2019. We all remember the Kevin Harlan ragdoll call the first time these two teams met in week 5 when he ragdolled the defensive end and Sam Hubbard before throwing a strike to Isaiah Likely and Cincy. And we all remember just an absurd effort play where he escaped from the pocket, was dead to rights, at least the screenshots would tell you that, around the 30-yard line, and somehow bringing it all the way down to the 1. He is 1 of 1, and he was nearly perfect when trailing last night. 17 of 22, 225 passing yards, 30 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. He puts this team on his back time and time again and answers the call. The highest passer rating through 10 games of a season since 2000. He joins himself and finds himself on a list with some pretty darn good company. Current and or future Hall of Famers. Names like Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and the GOAT Tom Brady. He is a passer. Lamar Jackson is a passer first, and everything else is gravy. What a time we're living in right now. Chef Curry impersonation made its way onto the primetime stage. lofted a football into the end zone for a touchdown, and you know what? I'm going to hang it up there. I'm going to let my follow-through be seen nationally because I'm one of the best players that's ever playing this damn game. And I'm making my head coach look awfully damn good with what a lot of people felt like was an outlandish comment in the preseason, that they have visions of Lamar Jackson being the greatest player, greatest quarterback to ever suit up in the National Football League. Look at his record after his first 10 games throughout the Lamar era in Baltimore. The guy wins at an 80% win rate. 42-18 to be exact throughout this stretch of time and this trend that Kyle picked up on. 8-2 in 2019, 6-4 in 20, 7-3 the last 4 seasons. He has not gotten it done yet in the postseason when it matters. He still has more work to do in January and on into February. But the undeniable reality is that Lamar Jackson is your MV3. And I don't think there's anybody who's more valuable to his team on a yearly basis than number 8 is in Baltimore. Simply put. And when you compare last year to this year, case in point, he's already got as many passing touchdowns this season through 10 weeks as he did in his entire MVP campaign last year. And of course, he's done so in 6 fewer games this year. The guy is electric. And over the last 6 weeks, he's accumulated plus 103.0 expected points added on dropbacks. That's the second most EPA generated by a QB in a 6-game span over the last 9 seasons. You got to go back to Drew Brees in 2018. EPA measures efficiency, and that is Lamar Jackson in a nutshell. 25 of 33, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 141.4, and he was not sacked one time. He chipped in 7 carries for 33 yards. The guy's generational. And maybe most impressively is that he's distributing the football with such variety. Look at what Bo noted here. Tylan Wallace, who led the team in receiving yards last night, 3 receptions for 115 yards, became the 6th different player to lead the Ravens in receiving yardage through 10 games. And guess what? It's the second time. Not the second time that Tylan leads the team. It's the first time that Tylan leads the team this year in receiving yards after a game. But look at all these different threats. Tylan, Zay, Bateman, Hill, Aguilar, Likely. Isaiah didn't even suit up last night, and the Ravens didn't even blink. Mark Andrews had himself a nice night. He went 6 for 68 and a touchdown, including a little bit of classic street ball improvisation with Lamar Jackson, which is always highly entertaining to watch. But after a game where the tight ends were only targeted a combined 3 times against the Broncos, all right, who cares? Mark's going to come in and be the second receiving yards leader the next week. Rashad Bateman's going to come up clutch. He's going to have 6 receptions for 54 yards and a touchdown, targeted 8 times. Zay Flowers is going to stretch the field, and more so than anything else on just an average night for him, be a presence. 4 receptions for 34 yards. He was targeted 6 times. Nelly had a touchdown. He was wide open in the first half. Great design. An indication of just how much there is to take into account for opposing defenses. Somebody's going to be open. Deontay Johnson had a catch, 2 targets, only a few snaps for the Ravens. Charlie Kohler had a catch. Derrick Henry in the flat. Justice Hill had a couple as well. a couple dump offs that didn't go anywhere. But this group has variety. This group has so many ways to beat you, week in and week out. But it doesn't take away from the fact that while the offense is a championship-esque, a championship-built group, and a complete group, it's not a complete team. And that's what I refuse to ignore.